not just about corruption and integrity. There are a few other angles to ethics which I believe is important for us to spend a few minutes thinking about and see how those aspects of ethics also need to be incorporated into the thinking and the way businesses function. For one, for me, ethics, of course, is integrity, but also is about doing the best that you can on any occasion. So excellence in what you do is, for me, a very important definition of ethics, which today you can find a lot of dilution in that, and I'll probably come back and comment on that a little further. Third, for me, is about how you treat people. One of the large companies that I work for, a company called Tesco, had a very nice phrase for this: treat people the way you like to be treated. And I think that's something which we keep forgetting. Treating people, everybody, the same way that you believe you want to be treated in every occasion. And that translates into things such as diversity, equality, just basic respect for people, harassment of any sort. All of that, to me, is a very important part of ethics. And sometimes in the whole worry about integrity, we forget that you can be high in integrity and very poor in terms of treating people. To me, that's poor ethics also. That's very unethical behavior, because that's not right. That's absolutely against moral standards. So when I look at just three dimensions, I'm sure I can pick up many more dimensions. So integrity, excellence, and behavior to people, those are three things which I look at as a definition of ethics. Now when I look at how does an individual create his own moral center, to me a lot of that comes from home, from family, and a lot comes through education. Right through the school stage, how you get treated, and whatever the school may say, values education, etc., they are only watching what people do. Children don't learn by hearing, they learn only by watching. And they watch what the parents do, their behaviors, they watch what the teachers do, what the teachers say, and then what they do. Then they start realizing, there is a difference. You can say something and do something, and that's not. So those are some of the cues that they start picking up. And I believe that, and when I come back to what needs to be done, I think, and I'm right now in the area of education, school education, I very strongly feel that there is an opportunity to do something there. And of course, as you grow, you get into professional education, you come into hallowed portals or institutes like this. I was one of the fortunate few who came from one such institute, Calcutta. The amount of time that was spent on discussing ethics was very, very minimal. A lot more time spent on discussing numbers, how do you get them, profitability, how do you treat people, HR and all of that. But it's really not about, it was more about structures and how performance management should be done. But who said that you have to treat people the way you want to be treated? That's not something that you learn in any institution. Didn't learn. I know that a lot has changed since time, and I know Vasanthi here is doing a lot of work in this institution, and many other institutions are doing the same, to bring back some of those thoughts during the course of professional education. So a lot of conditioning happens there. And then when you're in a business world, there's a lot of external pressures. You may have created a great moral compass in the center, but all the different environmental pressures that come on you, you need to get business, you need to grow your company, you need to be seen as a profitable company, you need to handle taxes, you need to handle various approvals that you have to get. All of that starts to sort of erode some of that moral compass that people create. Now the moral compass doesn't change, but what happens is a lot of layers that you create on top of that. So inside, you're feeling very conflicted. Oh my God, I'm doing the wrong thing, but you probably end up doing that anyway. I mean, business is big, you have to do this, you have to do that, this is what is expected, so on and so forth. So all of that starts to work and start to create perhaps that whole shifting of the moral compass. Now just one other thing that I would say is, and none of this is special about India. Okay, this happens everywhere, I'm sure. But what is another special factor in India, which is very affectionately we refer to ourselves as the people who have the jugaad in us, right? We are jugaadu people. That's very good, because what jugaadu gives is a lot of creativity. It makes us do things when everybody has given up. if you've ever been in the US and where there is no concept of jugaad, it's really follow the law and follow the rules. If you've got stuck in an airport, you will know how you get treated. There is no support whatsoever here. At least they will make some effort. Ma'am, let's do something. Lone woman traveling, can we help? No, no, no. This is it. The law says, or my regulation says that you lady have to spend next 2 days in the airport in some corner. There's no food. That's how it is. I can't help. So there are some positive parts of our jugaad. We use washing machines. We use the washing machines to make lassi, great jugaad. All of that we can do. But the negative part of jugaad is what leads to getting by, chalta hai, all of that. Because in the last moment somehow by jugaad you make up. So even if you do not a great job, even if you're that excellence bit I was talking about, you can do okay because in the last moment you can cover up. The other aspect of jugaad leads to missed milestones, to say, yeah, I'll do it, yes to everything. And the third part, and which is the most insidious part of jugaad, is that somehow get things done by doing whatever it takes. The stuff under the table, the things that no one wants to talk about, just get it done, I don't want to know. So that's the third part of jugaad, which is the one which translates into all of that. I do believe that some amount of the legislation is going to help. And just to, again, coming back from a corporate background, I'll tell you that the US government has got something called an FCPA, but the UK government has got something called the ABC, Anti-Bribery and Corruption Act. Now, this is the most draconian law that I have ever seen. And everybody, all UK FTSE companies or any company incorporated in the UK are quaking their boots. Why? Even if you own 1% stake in any company, you are responsible for the actions of every individual in that company and their vendors and their partners. So God help you, anywhere down the food chain, anybody does anything corrupt, the directors of that company which owns that 1% can be behind bars. So it's really going all the way, 180 degrees extreme, put something very, very draconian, $20 or 20 pounds excess expense claim and you could be behind bars. It's as strict and as draconian as that. Now what is that? Since now we sold Tutor Vista earlier this year to a company called Pearson, which is one of the world's largest education company headquartered in the UK. So I know a lot about ABC. I hear every day about ABC. And what that is doing for us is it's creating a very strong structure within our company. Not that earlier we were corrupt, but we had very strong, that's more because of my moral compass or my co-promoters' moral compass that we will do the right things. But here we have a legislation and we have a need to follow that legislation and hence a whole bunch of structures, processes, technologies which are now being used to ensure that none of those things can ever happen. A great deal of tightening has gone, and that is something which is, I think, fantastic. Now, it might be just too draconian and really stupid, some of it, but you know what? It wakes us up. Suddenly, my entire company is talking about, should we be doing this or not, in a positive way. Of course, it can lead to paralysis, which is my job as a CEO to ensure it doesn't, but at least there is a lot more of awareness, because you know what? Some of these are very gray. What is wrong and what is right, and some of these things can be very gray. Now, yeah, I shouldn't bribe anybody. That I know, I'm not a moron. But is it okay to just overlook when I know that my vendor to release something from customs is paying something? Is that okay? Is that all right? Or is it wrong? Is it okay that, I don't remember exactly whether I spent 100 rupees or 150 rupees on a meal. Maybe I just put 150 rupees, I don't have a bill. Is that right? Or that's absolutely wrong? There are a lot of small and big gray things. As one of our colleagues from Australia was saying, she sells books and curriculum to colleges. She says, I bake a bunch of cookies and cakes whenever I go visit them during Christmas. Is that wrong or is that right? So you start to wonder a lot of small things which look like, okay, just something that you would do to please somebody, just to keep the whole conversation going, you start to worry about that also. So, but the awareness that it has created in the corporate environment as a result of that is absolutely fantastic. Now, having said all that, my personal submission on this is that there is a place for activism. There are people who should be espousing the whole removal of corruption, and the Anna Hazare and his team, fantastic, a lot of people are talking about it. But as a corporate or an entrepreneur, what is it that I can do? I can keep my stable clean. But more importantly, I want to forget about it and I just want to go build business. For me to do that is because in the last three companies that are created actually have created 30,000 new jobs, which weren't there earlier. So in my own way, I'm contributing back to the growth of the economy, to the improvement of the standards of many people, and I do believe that at least the petty corruption starts to become less important for people as they start their level or their economic situation improves. They're not going to do small things. Right, the big things you need the lokpals and you need the big dandas to catch. But at least the small ones, by as entrepreneurs, as business people, by keeping our businesses clean, by building great businesses, by showing the world that India, in spite of whatever limitations, is a great place to be in, then some of these things which other people are doing the other good things. My job is to build the big businesses and make them really successful. I think that makes a huge statement. That, and you know what is interesting, there are opportunities, there are places in India where you don't have to be hampered and pulled down by the regulatory issues which then leads to corruption. You stay away from those, find your niches. Internet businesses, fantastic. IT businesses in the last 20 years has been great. Much lesser impact of the whole license raj and the regulatory environment. So find the niches, build businesses in spite of corruption. You show the way that it is possible to succeed by not getting involved in that corrupt milieu. And then the more you do that, the corrupt people or those people who generate this corruption become less powerful. So that's my 2 cents on what I think as industry we could do in this area. Thank you.